Hey, this is Not the Girl Next Door show, and today I have Fourth Point with me. Could you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about the fans, the band?
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is Matt from the band Fourth Point, and yeah, we're an alternative rock band out of Chicago, Illinois, and yeah, super grateful to be on the show and to be talking with you guys today. We love any and everyone who's wanting to play just good rock and roll music. So we're excited to talk with you a bit.
Now, what kind of sound would you describe to listeners who haven't heard your music before? Who would you say that what like an alt sound, or what kind of sound?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We've gotten a lot of different stuff over the years. I would say like we're, best way to describe us, alternative, indie rock, hard rock. Some of our influences that we've been accredited or at least told that we sound like are bands like Switchfoot, and everything from that to like Creed to, man, I don't even know, like people have commented Muse on some of our songs. So there's been a definite mixture of like all different eras, and I've been told that I sound like Bon Jovi sometimes, which is pretty funny, but equally awesome, I guess. So that's pretty sweet. But yeah, I mean, we're synthy alternative rock, very guitar driven. Yeah, anybody who loves kind of that niche of music, yeah, that's kind of the stuff that we do.
Now, where you guys are, we were talking a little bit before we started the interview. I'm a little bit East Central Illinois, but where you guys right now are located, how is the music scene, the rock music scene where you guys are, like more by Chicago?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely a cool, a great scene of musicians. Just over the years, our band's been together about 8 years, and we've literally grown up together from the time we were in like junior high. Started writing songs and playing songs and doing some of our first shows. Kind of growing up, I guess, in the Chicago scene, and there's definitely a good niche of some rock bands that we've played with at festivals over the years and have had the chance to connect with at a lot of different types of events. It's definitely not like a Nashville or something like that where you go and everybody's playing original music and, going out to clubs to hear original music. So it's definitely been interesting for us to, just play our music kind of amongst a lot of, at least in our area, there's a lot of cover bands and things like that. So we're always super excited or encouraged when we come across other bands or get to play festivals with other bands that have some of their own records, and and we're music lovers, and there's definitely like a niche kind of cool indie rock scene in our area, so it's been fun to experience over the years.
Around here, it is mostly cover bands, I think, that get big gigs more so than anyone. And I was talking with a band last week, and actually I saw a forum online talking about how bars specifically, they kind of cater towards those cover bands, and they push away original bands. And do you guys have that a lot up there too? Because we're trying to, I guess, as a whole down here, we're trying to, get these bar owners, take a chance on their original bands, and is it difficult like that up in Chicago too?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been an interesting thing for us just because we've been able to, play everything from like private events to festivals where there's a lot of bands playing predominantly covers and things like that. And there's even some, shows in the past where we were told like, hey, you gotta, you can play 2 of your originals for every 10 covers that you do, or every, amount of song, like, just, kind of crazy restrictions like that. But it's definitely been an incredible thing where we've kind of been able to like toss in both lanes, I feel like, without totally surrendering that we're gonna play other people's music. And there's been plenty of opportunities for us to play our own songs, or to be the band where like everyone else is playing maybe cover tunes, then we come up and then we're, getting to share some of the songs off of our couple of records in places where maybe there wasn't original bands before. So, yeah.
Now, you said you guys have been together, you said for 8 years?
Yeah, so we've been, for 8 years. So we, the band started when we were literally in junior high.
Wow.
Formed out of our local church, and all of us went to school together, junior high, high school, through college, and and the band started when we were literally like 12, 13 years old, and it's just been a wild progression over the years to grow up with a group of guys where we literally were playing our, walking around the high school and passing out our first show flyers to people, and trying to get people to come out to our shows, then to getting to share the stage with acts like Switchfoot and Colton Dixon and Hawk Nelson, and like big 80s rock bands like Head East, and like all these crazy kind of things throughout the years, where it's definitely been just an incredible ride thus far. So we're super excited just about the music we're making, and have just been humbled and blown away by what someone can do when you're a 12, 13-year-old and you have a group of people around you that support you, and you kind of just stick to it. What can happen with it? So it's been wild. We've grown up together, and music's been such a central core of that.
Well, it sounds like you guys are pretty close. So how does the collaborative process work? Does one person write the music? Do you guys just, jam out and whatever comes out is, whatever comes out? Or how does making the music work for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so we've got 3 records right now. We've got our first record, which we literally like recorded out of high school, and we had this really awesome chance to work with a guy named Gary Loizo, who was the recording engineer, and I believe he was also the live front of house guy for the band Styx and REO Speedway again, and we had just this crazy connection there, and we were literally thrown into a studio kind of with a batch of songs that we had written, maybe over the first year and a half, 2 years of our band existing, and that's kind of where it was one of those things where it's like we're going to hop on the bike and just kind of learn to start writing without really knowing how the process works and things like that. Right. And really the collaborative, I guess, process for each album is definitely taken its own form or nature. A lot of times I'll come to the guys with maybe a central concept or kind of a core part of the song, and then we'll kind of develop it together. But in the same token, there's also been a lot of songs where we've been playing at a live venue during sound check, and we have even, I guess, a good example of it. On our current record, we have a song called "In the End," which was a song that we had written like 6 years ago that was recorded on a voice memo that I think our drummer Bullard came to me and was just like, "Matt, like this chorus is incredible. We need to, revisit that." So there's definitely been a lot of stuff. Maybe individually we've written things and kind of thrown it in the archives, and then, brought things back over time. So we collaborate, but I would say each of the records have had kind of their own touch and feel when it comes to, was it me bringing more of the songs, or was it, especially this last record was very much so more of a band joint effort in the way of everything from lyrically to production to kind of all the elements that make a record come together. So yeah, they've each had their own form, but we've definitely all have our own little bits and pieces in there that kind of make it come together.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about your music. You guys just recently released a new song, What I Know, and a video for that song. So let's maybe talk a little bit about what the song is about and how it was making a video.
Yeah. So we part of the cool thing and playing in the area that we've kind of grown up in, we've been able to meet a lot of just incredible, super talented, artsy people, whether they're bands or musicians or videographers or photo people. And that particular song, What I Know, that we just put out the video for, we were super excited about doing that song just because we feel like, especially for this last season of us touring and playing our latest record, that song kind of encapsulated the personality behind the album, where it was, little bits and elements where the guitars shine, but it was also has some pop elements, but also some like strong, just kind of core who we are rock elements in it. And that song in particular, like a lot of our songs, if you listen, they're honest songs. They're songs that just kind of speak hope into darkness, and are a lot of our own personal just struggles, our fears, our doubts, our worries. But we've really wanted to, and we decided early on with our band that we wanted our music to be for something that is ultimately more than just a song, is more than just the melodies or the riffs or whatever we're playing. We've always had an inclination where we want to just shine hope and into life, into lifelessness, and use music as a vehicle, rather than it just being something where we point directly to us. So yeah, we like that song was an exciting one for us to do, just because we feel like it just lyrically and kind of all the elements within the song communicates kind of a narrative over the last 8 years as a band, what we've been trying to say in a way. So, yeah, and definitely have a great creative team that was behind kind of putting that together. So we're excited to do some more with that.
When I talk about that on my show a lot, like there are just certain songs, and more so for me, I think, with a lot of music than maybe most people, but you just feel it. Like, you may not be going through what the lyrics are talking about, but you can just feel it. Like, I kind of make a joke that nobody knows the lyrics to Pearl Jam's Yellow Ledbetter, but I tell you what, Eddie Vedder, you feel it. I mean, I do know the words, but it's been, misheard lyrics and stuff like that, but you do feel whatever emotion, he's trying to convey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and that's something for us. What's been cool is playing our music. I think, especially we've found, and even in the process of some of the stuff that we've been currently working on, where we're really starting to get a lane where we're noticing, and even just online and people responding to our songs and things like that, that there's been definitely a common thread of I don't know, you kind of associate things with different bands, or you maybe sometimes associate like moods, or like, maybe you'll put on one band because you want to feel a certain way, or you want to connect with them in a certain way. And we've definitely been getting like a very, I guess, kind of steady outflow of people who have been responding to our songs just with just crazy stories, like things that we would have never thought when the songs were written, on after a show or in my bedroom or what, wherever it is, like that. These melodies are written that they were going to communicate in the way that they have, and I think feeling's a huge part of that.
Well, then I guess that brings me to the question, and I ask a lot of bands this, and the answer always is the same, but it's just always interesting to hear. How do you feel when you are performing? When you get up on stage and you see, the fans singing your songs or rocking out to you and really getting into it, how does that make you feel as a performer?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a number of shows, kind of things that just came to my mind, but like one of the things, and I know I brought it up, was like over the years we've been able to play, everything from the just kind of whether it's a bar or a venue or opening up for a secular band. We got to play a couple of years ago at a festival called Bratfest in Madison, Wisconsin, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And we we ate like 30 brats, like between four of us as a band, and it was just like the greatest thing ever. But we got to play before the band Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, earlier in the day, and the interesting thing about like that particular show, I remember when you bring up like people singing your songs or just responding, we had the chance to play a couple sets before them, and just watching like some of the people who didn't necessarily like know our music that were there, for them, and coming up and kind of responding to some of these songs that they've never heard before. Even when we've played shows, like youth conferences or like all different types of events that we've done where people are a little more familiar with our music. Mm-hmm. It's just always I guess the most humbling thing for us has been when, more than just the excitement of like being in front of a lot of people, is just the what we hear after we're done, and the individual stories of people, and getting to hear, a little bit more about maybe a moment that they had with the song, where it's just like, oh, we're having a blast, or jumping around, or they're headbanging with us or whatever it might be, but then we get to have this kind of one-on-one personal interaction with someone. And I would say it's cool, but like the fuel for our band and what kept us going, which is crazy now, coming on like a decade, has been definitely the things that we've heard, after the fact, and the individual just stories that people are, because I think a lot of times musicians can get just super overwhelmed with all this attention that you're getting, rather than just kind of viewing that in some ways as like a responsibility, like you're leading people.
Definitely.
And for us, I mean, we've definitely tried to be intentional and thinking about, before, no matter what type of show or venue or event it is, like, where are we leading them? What are we ultimately trying to say and convey to them at the end of the day? And so not to get too crazy deep on it there, change the course of action in the question, but it's, long story short, it's an awesome feeling, and we're super thankful for everything we've been able to do so far.
Well, let's kind of go to the flip side of performing. You guys have been together and performing a while. What are some crazy fan or crazy band stories that have happened that you could tell us about while you were performing before?
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, man. That's an awesome question. That's like I would be super interested to hear like all the different bands, what they say.
There's some pretty crazy stories.
Yeah, no, I believe it. Like, I wonder where we're going to land on the totem pole.
Well, go ahead.
There's been a lot of different stuff. I remember, I guess just one example, and I don't even know how this happened, but it was, I think it was 2011 or so. I know, maybe it was like 2012. We were opening for this band for a festival in Sugar Grove, Illinois, and there was probably a couple thousand people in the audience. We were opening for this national like touring band, and that was our first time just kind of being thrown into that situation. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget the first song that we hit. Like, going into it, somehow I had like strum my guitar, and I don't even know how this happened, but I like broke 2 strings at once, which it's like one thing to break 1 string, but somehow like the G string and the E string like simultaneously broke, and then we're 30 seconds into the first song, and then I just had this crazy mental moment of like, do I walk off or do I like just throw the guitar down and keep going? And that was an awesome moment. But then I'm also, if you look through a lot of our pictures and stuff, you'll see me like standing on drum kits, or there's been tons of times where I've like fallen off the stage because a light's in my eye, or I'm in the crowd like holding someone's hand and then I fall over a chair and you hear the mic hit the ground. Just like stuff like that. And then the guys in the band, when I look back at them on stage, they're just like slowly turning around because they don't want to be associated with me anymore. Like silly stuff like that. But yeah, it's that I could probably write a book about the mistakes as opposed to like, oh my gosh, these were the incredible moments that we like played perfect. Yeah.
But that's the fun part, you know, the unexpected things. You might not feel so much at the moment, but later when you look back on it, you're probably like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Probably
you know
what you were thinking.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, like, those are the best shows. Like, when you go to, you know, you've seen maybe the band that you've wanted to see forever, and then, like, you see something go wrong or not as planned, but then I think just kind of the chaos of the moment or the spontaneousness of the moment sometimes, and at least I know for us, has been, like, the shows that have sometimes felt like the worst are somehow the best because they're so unique just in their own nature. Like, people are going to remember that. Like, you made it personal. Maybe you fell off the drum kit. I don't know.
Right.
Like standing up. But, yeah, I think it is one singer I like a lot. Talks about, he says, embracing the chaos. And I think as an artist, like especially now where there's just so many bands where it's production and just pure tracks and so many you know, different live elements that are so kind of staged in a way that when you see the bands that actually leave moments for just realism and something to be human, that you connect or resonate with them most. So we've always been on the teeter-totter of like how much production versus like how much is Matt gonna run around in the audience and just leave moments of craziness to happen. Yeah.
And there's an element of realness, and like you said, it'll kind of give away my age, but I don't really care because we talk about this all the time. I've been going to shows for, you know, over 20 years, and I will take moments of mess ups or moments of realness over finding out, you know, that the band really, I mean, the guitar player really wasn't playing it. And you know, to be truthful, this sounds pretty naive on my part, but I didn't even know there were bands that had so many backtracks that they really aren't playing, or so many things. I had no clue, and you know, I just found this out a couple of years ago because my friends had been to shows where they had seen it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like I don't know. It would be a heartbreaker. But you kind of remind me of, you know, and I always go back to this unplugged moment for MTV of Alice in Chains when Lane Staley, you know, he messed up, and that was one of the best, you know, live, you know, elements. Yeah.
No, I think that, you know, and those, like, and even over the years, like, getting to, like, play or share the stage with some of our heroes, like, as a kid, there's been plenty of bands that we've played with where, you know, it's been wild to kind of see some of those, I guess, behind-the-scenes elements where, like, you see how different bands maybe you've looked up to, and for us that we've looked up to, like, handle those chaotic moments where it's like, of course it's not good when, you know, like, your guitar somehow falls, like, 5 steps out of tune, and then, like, I don't know, like, something crazy happens, but then you see these like, Dave Grohl moments where the dude's, like, sitting in a chair with a broken leg, and
Right.
the crowd's just eating it up and loving it.
Of course.
And you do it. Yeah.
So let's talk about the rest of 2019. What do you guys have going on? Do we have some shows? Do we have some new music? What do we have?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're still, at least for this half of the summer, heading into festival season and into the fall. We have some potential tours kind of lined up that we might be stepping out on and doing, which we're excited about. But we're still touring our latest record, Fault Lines, which we released last June. So we're going to be playing those songs all summer, playing a lot of festivals throughout the Midwest, and going to be doing a handful of conferences and things like that we do. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be playing that record front to back as much as we can, and we're in the process right now of I was just talking to our guitar player Drew earlier today, and just telling him how I'm probably the most excited that I've ever been for kind of the next season of our band, just because I feel like the last 3 albums have kind of allowed us to find who we are and our sound and the music that we're making, and we're going to be starting to record in 2019, 2020 are songs that I'm more excited about than I've ever been about songs, which is pretty awesome. So it's been a pretty awesome moment for us because, like, as we're writing and I'm hearing, bands that I really love, like, release new music, I'm finding that, like, not in a conceited way, but, like, in this weird way, like, oh my gosh, I actually like my songs. I'm writing more than some of the songs that, like, are bands that I, like, just look up to the most, which has been nuts. So we're excited. We're going to be playing a lot of shows this year, recording, and hopefully, who knows when, have a single out within the next year and a half or so.
So where can fans find your music? Where can they find, if you have merch? This is the part where you plug yourself and your social medias or your website, whatever you have, tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, pretty much, just like every band, you can find all of our stuff on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, any and everything. On Instagram, it's 4th Point Band. On YouTube, it's just 4th Point. If you look us up, you'll see our stuff. iTunes, Spotify, all those different channels, and we've got our couple records out that are on there, and we are looking forward to what's to come.
Well, I thank you for coming on the show today. Come back anytime to talk about new music news, what you guys have going on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for having us.